Episode number 6. So, how do you handle a loss? Well, I think there's two types of losses, right? There is one type of loss where you lose your money on an investment, but in the overall scheme of things, in your overall portfolio, it has only made a dent, but it hasn't made a crater yet. Whereas another type of loss is where it has made a crater, and that can have more significant impacts. And I think the biggest thing is making sure you don't let a dent turn into a crater. And I think the best way to make sure that doesn't happen is that when you feel like you have lost too much money, then you sell, right? When you start to be uncomfortable with the amount of money that you've lost, then it's best strategy to just sell and and understand that the losses, are most likely not going to be able to come back. And I think another thing that's incredibly important is that when you are investing, don't hope it's going to increase over time. That's something that's a common trap that even I fell into. I was investing in this company called Palantir, and their price just was kept on going up and kept on going up and kept on going up, and I was like, this is it's never gonna end. It's gonna keep on going up, and then I'm gonna make a ton of money off of it. But in reality, what ended up happening was that it hit a peak and then it dramatically dropped. So making sure that you get out is also incredibly important, so you don't let that dent turn into a massive crater. And I think luckily for me, it didn't turn into a crater, but it did create a sizable dent in my whole portfolio. And that's the experience that I've learned from. And I was able to kind of step back from it and understand that going back to the root of things, of understanding that investing is not a short-term game, but it is a long-term hustle. And when we start to get impatient is when we can lose money, or when we start to feel like we can predict things in the short term, then we see the biggest failures. But when we make our predictions for the long term, we oftentimes see more success. I think humans overall are incredibly poor predictors, but we are much worse at predicting about things in the short term than we are about predicting things in the long term. Now, I think this also has to go along with your goals as an investor. What do you hope to gain from investing? Is it just to accumulate wealth, or is it to invest in stable stocks that will increase over time? So are you going for a short-term approach or a long-term approach? These are all things that you need to consider. And if you're under pressure, how your goals will then influence your decisions overall. So I think losing money is inevitable. You will, at some point in your investing career, you will lose money. And I think that's something that happened to me. I lost money in this, but my gains and my ability to think about the long-term aspect of things really helped and prevented the big crater from forming.